Hello again. Okay, this is a bit better. I've put my camera the right way around. You guys can see what I'm doing now, right? Neutral. Warm. So I'm literally in the last few steps of getting these miniatures finished and back to the client. What I really want to do right now is make sure that my bases are all uniform and it all looks like it's part of the same environment. And warm grey for stone slabs and that kind of stuff seems to be the one. So these have already had some Agrax Earthshade over the top. That is way too light, but I can always tone it down once it dries. Let's see how it dries actually. So this is attempt number 4 at a live stream video today, I think. Anybody might have been there early on, my camera stand broke pretty catastrophically and ended up nosediving my camera into my paint, which was not the one, really. So hopefully we're going to have some more luck this time. So I'm currently just batch painting all of the bases. I've mixed up I use Pro-Acryl as well as Citadel and a little bit of Vallejo to do all my painting with. Some of the paints are better than others for certain things. For instance, if you put a semi-gloss wash like Agrax Earthshade over a base like so, just to get the definition in, and then try and go back over it with a super flat paint like Pro-Acryl, you kind of get a kind of a rip and a tear sort of thing going on, so it does take a couple of goes to get the effect you want. You can kind of see it there maybe. It just starts to bubble, or it doesn't bubble, it just kind of like bunches up, like it doesn't really want to spread over the area very well. But it looks a little better than it did before, which is nice. So I'm just going over all of these miniatures bases just to make sure they're all of a uniform tone. The texture's different from base to base, but that's okay as long as they kind of look like they live in the same environment. It's quite a cool one. Right, this guy was 3D printed. Doing a great job of focusing right now, thanks camera. Here we go. So these are minis from HeroQuest. This guy is actually a third-party 3D print, along with this guy. But all the other minis I'm painting right now are part of the same box set. So if you buy the game, these are the minis you get in it. Obviously not Zargon, like I said. You're gonna focus? Come on, treat yourself. Focus. There we go. These glowy eyes. And yeah, this is wrapping up today, pretty much just making sure I get the last few little details and making them all look uniform to each other, and then they get sent back off to, check this guy out, they get sent back off to their owners. So once again, these are from HeroQuest. So have you got anything on the bench today? Is there anything you're working on at the moment? Amazing. Yeah, so these are out of the new box set. If you keep watching, there'll be a barbarian in a minute wants to get onto his base. But yeah, it brings back some hazy childhood memories for me from the first edition of HeroQuest. My cousins, I'm sure they've played it with me. I know we played Space Crusade before, which was like basically like I think in Germany that was actually called Space Quest because it was the science fiction HeroQuest. This is the current barbarian that you get in the box, and if you'll focus, are you going to focus? I bet you're not. I bet you're not going to focus, are you? Maybe you will. But he's got quite a cool pose. A very muscly dude. Really impressed with these models. Oh, beast snaggers! I'm working on some Soulblight Gravelords myself actually. When I get a chance. Uh, Fun fact: years and years ago, I used to work at my local Games Workshop, and I used to really hate playing the games. But I've kind of made a commitment to myself this year that I'm going to relearn to play some Games Workshop games. So, apart from the obligatory Space Marines I've got hiding in a cabinet somewhere, I've started my Soulblight Gravelords, and I'm very much enjoying building and painting dead things, because that's a normal thing you can say when you're a Games Workshop hobbyist, right? So just while I'm noodling on with these, a couple of questions. Where are you based? Where do you come from? I mean, it's probably fairly obvious that I'm UK based, but those to dry a bit longer. Where did I put my things? Be right back. One of those is over there. Epic. So, I'm currently coming from Northamptonshire. We're floating about on the Grand Union Canal, and mostly because it's close to my normal human day job. For now, I'm actually looking at fundraising to set up an actual community studio space, because I really love what I do, and I want to get back to teaching. And I think the best way to do that is for me to set up a space and have somewhere for people to drop in and say hi. And you can have the conversation there. What I don't want to do is open up a wargame store, because I love it. I love wargaming. I love board gaming, role playing, and all that sort of stuff. But my main focus really is going to be towards model building, miniature painting, scenery, because that's the stuff that I really enjoy. And I have old friends and associates who are now independent retailers, and they do a great job. And the last thing that I want to do is to actually kind of tread on their toes with what I want to do. Ideally, I'm going to end up actually collaborating with them, which would be really cool. I think we're maybe getting close to a point where one more coat on those bases. Those are drying still. I can't do much about them. What I can do is remember to hydrate, because do need to drink. Hello everyone, I'm back. Sorry, I just had to go and turn the engine off on our boat because things are getting a little bit noisome. Okay, now where are we? That's all looking good. Let's work on these candles. A little bit more orange around the base on them, I think. Yeah. Itchy nose. you guys can see that. So the nifty print I've done in there. That's all done by hand, very slowly. I'm just building up on the candles now. Once all this paint's set up properly, I'm going to go over everything with a nice, good, strong coat of AK Ultramat. Guys, what are your opinions on supporting personalities over products? Because AK products are typically really, really good. But Mig Jimenez, I really don't like him. I don't think he's a nice guy. And I know that professionally shouldn't really make a difference, but you know, it kind of does. I mean, I don't know. Am I talking up my bottom? Possibly. However, you know, it's just how I feel about it, I think. Don't know. Let me know what you think. I've kind of got to a point where I'm now watching paint dry, which means you guys are now watching paint dry with me. So maybe I should find something else to paint. What have I got? What have I got left in paint? Just for now. That guy's finished. All that stuff's done. Let's pop these off to one side for a moment. Bear with me. Actually, there we go. Stop it. I know. While the paint's drying, let's paint some bats. Yeah, nice and easy. Right. Let's choose a nice burgundy or dark flesh. I think burgundy. Let's pop some, not dark amber. Let's have mahogany. That's mahogany as well. Note to self, buy more mahogany. Okay. Let's go for a dagger. So these brushes were a Christmas present from my wife. They are Golden Maple brand. I've seen them advertised around, and I didn't really consider putting any money down on them because I didn't really know them. So my lovely wife surprised me with a set. And do you know what? I don't hate them. They're very nice brushes. And this dagger point brush is really, really good for painting large areas. So I'm very impressed. Will they become my favourite brushes? I don't know. Time will tell. I'm actually using orange brushes at the moment for most of my commission projects. And they seem to be doing pretty well. So I'm not being very neat at the moment because this is very much just getting down that first set of colours just to get the ball rolling. You know, once this is down and I'm happy with it, I can go back in and tidy up. But right now, this is checking some boxes for me. It's a nice bit of brain off, and it's good that if you're doing commissions, especially, and if you have ADHD like I have, sometimes you do just need to break up what you're doing. Also, coincidentally, that's why I'm live streaming today, is because I'm trying something new. One of the problems I always have with projects is if they're big and it feels like it's a big undertaking, it's very, very easy for me to just switch off completely and not be able to carry on. And I've had too many days like that, really. And I need to stay on target. And funnily enough, one of the easiest ways for me to stay on target is to just pop up a live stream, and I can just keep going. It's like I can be productive if I know there's somebody in the vicinity. I know this is a fact. I mean, because my wife spends a lot of time working from home with her job. And when we're at home together, usually on a Monday, I'm super productive. And then I spend a couple of days on my normal human job and I'm super productive because there's other people around. But then on Wednesdays and Thursdays, after I take my wife to work on site and I'm basically at home with our dog, it's really, really difficult for me to get motivated into doing anything. So I wanted to see if this helped, and you'd be pleased to know, guys, if you're still hanging around, well, the one person who's hanging around still, yeah, it is helping. So thank you so much for being here and, you know, and saying hi. It really, really is actually helping. So you're making a difference. Cheers, guys. Those ears look nice in that same colour, I think. I'm not being super precise or anything with the colours I'm choosing here. I just wanted a nice dark reddish fleshy tone, and burgundy with a bit of mahogany in it is really the one for that, I find. And this is just going to be the base coat for the insides of the wings. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the outside of the wings yet, but I figured if I just start with this bit, I can then make the rest of it up as I go along. Because they're my bats, and no one's going to tell me how to paint them. Hey! Hi, Paul. That's really strange. I can't believe you're in Northamptonshire as well. You know, I mean, we did think you were on Mars for a while. It's quite a nice deep brown, not deep for a first coat. Yeah, it has to happen. There is actually a fundraiser, and annoyingly, I've got my hands full, so I should have linked it. Damn, I should have linked it. Paul, if you're still about, could you copy paste the link to the fundraiser in the comments, please? I am currently fundraising to actually make it happen because I really feel really strongly about it, and it's cool to see that other people kind of feel like that's the thing that we need as well. So yeah, yeah, if you could, Paul, that'd be great. I should have put one up. Damn. Oh no, wait, hang on. No, it's worth noting actually that you can access GoFundMe if you want to go and take a look. It is on my profile. I think it's the first link that appears on my YouTube page at the moment. I think it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, I'm liking that. So a little trick I'm using right now is I'm actually holding the miniature in a certain angle and I'm using the studio spotlight to map out which areas look brighter before I carry on with the next bit. And I'm going to deal with this and I'm going to promptly ignore it. I know I am, but you know, it's part of the process. There'll be a bit of to and fro on this. So as you can see right now, it looks really, really scrappy, but it will eventually build up into a nice cohesive look, I assume. He says, whilst immediately pulling this whole process out of his butt. There's not a lot of light that gets down there, but if it gives that suggestion of highlights and shadow right now, when I come back over in a minute with a darker colour to blend it all together, should work pretty well. He says. Well, I hope it works really well. Now I've started. So let's try and go darker colour. There we go. So this isn't straight mahogany, but it's fairly close. No worries. Thanks for trying, Paul. No, the URL is actually it's definitely on my YouTube page. I think it's like the first link you see when you go there. So for anybody in the future who's watching this, that's where you can help me. Now, I have got a Patreon, but I'm not doing anything with it, so I probably should get on that as well, but that's definitely a fight for another day at the moment. Well, it's definitely a style. Okay, I think that's bringing it all together now. So you're just tuning on your lunch break, Paul? All right, Ted. Yeah, I know. That's right. People exist. How dare they? Oh my god. Cool. That's a loaded question. Okay, so I have the last bit of Mark's Drukari commission to finish off when that comes in. And that includes a Drukari Tantalus, which I am terrified of, but it's there and it's sitting there ready to be built. I just need to finish it and get some colour on it. And he's got Drazar to come in and a few other bits and bobs. I've got Rick's HeroQuest stuff, which I am actually doing at the moment. I'm just waiting for all the inks to dry before I move on to the next stage. Colin's got a shed load of Cyberpunk stuff that's still on the bench at the moment, and then I've got a couple of all things, Tobard hook decorations. One's in the shape of the Incredible Hulk, and the other is in the shape of an East German minister from the 1970s. I don't know. That's the commission. This is the life of a contract artist, I guess, which is a bit odd. But yeah, so I've got a few bits and pieces going on at the moment, and it's all really labour intensive. But I just had to take a breather and just paint some bats before I carry on with this monumental mountain of stuff. And I'm hoping that if I do these live streams on a Thursday, it might actually just keep me motivated. I think that's working. That looks pretty bat fleshy. Meh. Just bat bowling, apparently. How about yourself, Paul? What are you working on? Ooh, Mastodon. That's a beast of a kit. That is, jeez. But that's taking some brain cells. Back to what I wanted to. My gosh, Ted. You might be able to hear a grumbling in the background. That is Ted telling general members of the public off for existing. Yeah, we're talking about you. Such a funny little guy. Yay, Forge World! I think that's probably what's doing with the Tantalus, to be honest with you, is the fact that I know none of it is going to be straight. Well, none of it is straight. I have actually assembled it, and I had to stop, get my get my brain into gear really, because wow, that's a whole experience putting that bad boy together. I think that's probably why Mark hired me to put it together, because it is terrifying. I'm a little bit afraid of it. See, I think we're getting to the point actually now where we just need to accept the fact that, man, Forge World just isn't as good as it should be. And I'm looking back at other things that I've done from Forge World, and I honestly think that perhaps it's just the problem with the medium, because resin casting's not easy anyway. It's a difficult process to master, and Games Workshop are no slouches at it. They do really, really cool models, but it's so fussy. It doesn't travel well because temperature differences really differences temperature differences really screw it up. You know, it's not the most sturdy material in the world anyway. So if it gets knocked or bumped, game over. It's a model maker's material. It's not really designed for like wargaming pieces. And then you take all of those elements and then you try and make something that's slab sided, for instance, and relatively big. And then you end up with warps, you end up with odd little artifacts in the actual castings, you end up with all kinds of weird pitfalls and stuff. And it's like, let's be real, right? We've got to the point now where 3D printing in resin is at a stage where it's not only accessible like to Joe Public, so they can at home produce on par, if not better results than you get from Forge World. But then when you take the professional 3D printing kit as well, they can amp that up to a whole new level, but they won't do it. And it's like, they should. I really think now we're at a point, and I think Privateer and I don't know, does Corvus Belli do 3D print? No, they went to Serocast, didn't they? But I think Privateer's 3D printed stuff is peak. And then you get like companies out in the Ukraine like ResKit who produce these mind-blowingly good kits, and companies like Games Workshop who are producing Forge World to the standard they produce it at, which isn't bad for the medium, but it ain't great. It just, I don't know, to me it just makes me wonder why people are bothering to try and sort of emulate that Forge World standard. grey. Yeah, it's kind of doing its thing. Fresh. Take that colour theory. I'm putting flesh into a blue. Because I'm a big damn adult and nobody can stop me. Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, on some of the Maschinen-Krieger stuff I have, and the reason why is because it looks intentionally rough, right? It looks like it could have been applied in a hurry in the field, right? And it does come out really nice. And interestingly as well, if you attempt to paint a cleanish colour with it, like say white or the obligatory Star Wars style space white, which is like an off yellowy greeny sort of colour, it works really fucking well. Excuse my French. It works really, really well. You know, I do quite enjoy it. I think it's a valid sponge. I think sponge painting is a very valid technique, and I think it kind of. Sorry, bear with me. I'm having an ADHD. I've just done something really cool. My brain is deciding to not process much else. Let me just get this little dude's elbows and tail and. Well, I've bought that, but never mind. I'll come back to it. Yeah, no. So let's put that down for a minute. Sponge painting. Yes, I have. I have sponge painted a few bits and bobs. I do really like it. I've seen how people build up from black up to high colours and stuff like Warhammer miniatures, but when it comes to like mecha modelling, doing it the other way works really well. So you can start with like all your light colours first, and then you sponge your camouflage on top. And if you do it with really, really thinned out paints and you build it up, it can almost look airbrushed. I think it's really neat. Um, I do have to say that every time that I've done it so it looks deliberately rough because that was the effect I was going for. With the Maschinen-Krieger stuff in particular, it really does sort of pay off to do that because it's that's the kind of style they tend to go for. I haven't got any painted examples out. I think all the stuff that I have done with sponges are currently in the garage at Mum's, so I can't really show you any. That's annoying. How about you? Have you had a go at it? Have you given it a try? Excellent. I can't wait to see some photos of that pool. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to have to go and try and give wifey a quick call and also get the boat warm because I've been sat by the fire and it's getting really fucking cold. This is me. If you haven't seen already, do go and take a look. If you can scan that QR code, then, you know, go and see all the fun stuff that I've been working on the Facebook page. And again, if you have any commissions or anything else you want to go for, please just drop me a message here or drop me a message on WhatsApp and we'll see what we can do. Okay, guys, once again, thank you so much. It's been great hanging out with you guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye.